The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment.
Congratulations, Central Fire District, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35728. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting just at the front bumper area, in the cutout in the face of the bumper is where you'll find your electronic siren PA speaker. Let's move now up onto the front section where you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights and also a turn indicator. As we move into the grille, you'll find forward-facing emergency warning lights. Just above the fender housing, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver side. Just in front of that location, you'll find side-facing emergency warning lights. As we move to the top of the hood, at the Kenworth logo area, you'll find a cutout for accessing for tilting the hood area. Let's move to the outer edges of the mirror, where you'll find a flat and convex mirror. As we move to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find the clearance lights located across the top of the roof. And on the top of the roof area, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few close-ups of those items that we just talked about. Let's first start down at the front bumper area with the electronic siren and PA speaker cutout. Let's move now to the grille area where you'll find your forward-facing emergency warning lights, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights, and also turn indicator. As we move to that front section, you'll find your emergency warning light side facing. Let's move down to the front wheel, where you'll find Alcoa wheels and Michelin tires. To the back of the fender area, where you'll find a turn indicator and then also the release mechanism for the hood. There is one on the passenger and also on the driver's side. As we move to the step area for the operator, this is the location of your ultra low sulfur diesel fill. It is the silver cap. As we move just to the right, you'll find your blue cap, which is the DEF level. As we move through, we'll take a few close-ups of those items. Door lock and latch, grab handle. As we move to the rear section of the cab, you'll also find an air inlet. Let's take a look at the mirrors. First at the very top, you'll find a flat mirror and then an adjustable convex mirror in the lower section. Let's go ahead and inside to the driver's space, where you'll find affixed to the door panel all of our safety and warning placards, door lock and latch. As we move to the door itself, on the panel, you'll find window controls. Just in front of those window controls, you'll also find this placard indicating the height of your vehicle, 9 feet 11 inches, length 32 feet 4 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 40,600 pounds. You'll also find your 5-digit job number located on this placard. As we move to the floor, you'll find your master battery switch. You'll also find this yellow placard indicating the manufacturer information regarding the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, all of the fluid capacities for each of those devices, and also fluid type. Let's move now to the seat structure. At the base of the seat is where you'll find, on the left-hand side of the driver's seat, comfort controls. And then just beneath that, you'll find your auto charge status center. When plugged into Shoreline Power, this will become active. Let's go ahead and move up now to the dash area, where you'll find, starting with your ignition switch, as we move up, you'll find all of your gauges, including your tachometer and speedometer, located in the very center. Directly above the tachometer and speedometer is where you'll find diagnostic engine information, which will display. Let's move just to the right of the steering column. Identify a few items within this area. This was in the preview of the operator. We'll first start down at the lower section, windshield wiper control. As we move up from that location, you'll find climate control. Moving further up onto the dash, you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It's the yellow diamond. Moving further up, you'll find your Code 3 siren and PA speaker control module. We do have a few switches, first starting with the left-hand side. differential lock, traction control, regen, driver flood, passenger and rear scene. High idle, an indicator for OK to engage the high idle, load manager, siren horn select, deck raised, and ladder down. Moving just to the right of this location, you'll find a dimmer switch for your cab lights. You'll also find cruise control and set RPM. Moving further to the right, you'll find fuel gauge and def level gauge. Moving up, you'll also find your stereo system. Moving just down from this location, we're going to find your Allison transmission pad. It is a digital readout push button type. And then just a close-up, once again, fuel and def. Just down from this location, you'll find two items. Do not move your apparatus when this light is on. It's indicating you have a ladder rack down or compartment door open. Also, seatbelt information. Red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted. Green indicating they are in the seat and belted. At about the right knee of the operator, you'll find your pump shift. There are two indicators. For pump operations, you'll need two green indicators illuminating. Just in the center console there, you'll find all of our emergency light controls, also door open and low voltage. Moving further back, you'll find 12-volt barrel style access, and then also additional storage location for resources. As we look just to the right of the operator, you'll find the pull lanyard for your air horn. As we're now looking to the passenger space now, glove box, air conditioning, and also a warning placard. As we move to the foot area, you'll find your electronic siren foot pedal. Let's go ahead and go exterior now, where you'll find your booster line. As we move just to the right of the booster line, you'll find the real rewind switch. It is the black knob push button. And then just beneath that, you'll find the cutout. This is for your manual rewind if there is a motor failure. Now we're moving to the cab area. We'll find affixed to the door panel all of our safety and placard warning information. This is the rear section of the cab. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the cab area. And now we'll go ahead and move exterior now, just between the cab and the midship location. First, in the stepwell area, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Just up from that location, you'll find a lift and turn latch. This will gain access into a storage area in the walkway between the cab and the pump area. General view, just for reference point. Let's go ahead and start just underneath the running board area, where you'll find perimeter lighting. As we move up onto the pump panel, we'll identify a few items within this area. First, starting with a general view, and then we'll start in the very far left lower corner with all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move further to the right, you'll find your driver's side auxiliary inlet. It is a 2.5-inch female inlet. You'll also find this warning label that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after they received proper training. Moving further to the right, you'll find this pan door. Lift and turn latch will gain you access into this area. This is going to be access into the foam section. This is for your calibration and also inject, and also your foam drain. Let's move back up onto the pump panel. Your pump happens to be a Watrous. It is a model CS and is 1,250 GPM. To the right, you'll find your manual pump shift with instructions just above that in the caution label. As we move further up, you'll find the pump drain. And then further up, you'll find two placards. This placard is referencing the minimum operation maintenance schedule, which is actually on the pump panel on the top. Large diameter pump inlet. It is the Pierce American Flag Eagle logo. Also, you'll find 2.5-inch discharge. Just next to that 2.5, you'll find your Shoreline inlet. This is a 20-amp auto eject plug. Let's move further up onto the pump panel. You'll find an additional 2.5-inch discharge, and then also an additional access door. Let's go ahead and take a look at the access door. Once again, lift and turn latch will gain you access into this door. And once we're inside, this is going to give you behind the pump panel area for general maintenance. Let's move to the crosslay area where you'll find two crosslays, the number 1 crosslay and also the number 2 crosslay. Both of these are foam capable indicated in the placard information. General view of the transom area where you'll walk through and also the pump panel. We'll start closest to the image here on the right hand side. First starting on the outside edge with your driver's side auxiliary inlet, that's the 2.5, plus the number 3 and number 1 discharge, so they're both 2.5. This is the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. Moving just to the left is where you're going to find your tank to pump, tank fill and recirculating line, and then also the Watrous auxiliary pump. Let's move further to the left where you'll find this warning placard, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. As we move all the way up to the top, you'll find your primer for your Hale pump. Moving further to the right, number 2 discharge and number 2 crosslay, reel discharge and deluge discharge. Passenger side auxiliary inlet, large diameter, and also number 1 crosslay. This is your foam system module. It's a Foam Pro 1600. There are specifications and also instructions. In the center, you'll find the operating instructions on the placard, in addition with the control module. Just to the right, you'll find your foam level A indicator. Moving just to the left, you'll find the Class 1 throttle pressure governor, and then also an audible alarm down at the very bottom section. The outer edge of this bezel does allow you to dampen the sound. Moving further to the right, you'll find your panel lights, OK to pump indicator, driver's side and passenger side floodlights. Moving just to the right, you'll find in this gray area your master intake gauge. Just next to that, you'll find the master discharge gauge, and in between the two of those are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged, and these are for testing purposes. Just to the right, you're going to find 2 rotating valves. First, your engine cooler and also recirculating line. Once again, these are rotation, not pull. As we move to the center, you'll find your water level gauge indicator. Moving further to the right, you'll find your auxiliary pump. This is the vacuum. Moving just to the opposite side, this is going to be the pressure. As we move to the right, you'll find the ignition. And at the very top, you'll find a check oil red indicator. And then further to the right, you'll find your throttle control. From the standing position at the pump panel, let's look toward the right and left side toward the rear of the vehicle, where you'll find on each side additional floodlights, passenger and driver side. Located directly in the center is where you'll find your master stream device. There is also an extended gun to elevate the nozzle position. As we move just to the left or to the passenger side, you'll also find your ladder rack. Let's move into the dunnage area, identify a few items within this area. First, let's start with the top fill water tank. This is for your main water tank. And then as we move just to the rear of that, you'll find an auxiliary fuel cell. This is for your Watrous auxiliary pump. To the right in the image is where you'll find your auxiliary pump. As we move just to the left, you'll find the top fill location for foam tank A. Just up from this location, you'll find your ladder rack, housing a folding ladder, 3 pike pole storage locations, 24-foot and a 14-foot roof. Let's move now to the lower section on the side of the body, where you'll find your storage location for your folding wheel chocks. General view here of the side of the body. And then let's go ahead and take a look with the side of the body with all compartments in the open position. We'll go ahead and move through some of the compartments now. First, starting just in front of the rear axle, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. SCBA bottle storage just in front of the rear axle. As we move just above the rear axle, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. And then down to your rear wheel, you'll find Alcoa wheels and Michelin tires. Let's move just to the rear of the axle, where you'll find SCBA bottle storage location. Inside the bottle storage location, you'll find retaining straps for bottle security. As we move to the rear compartment, you'll find a pull-out tray. The release mechanism is going to be located on the lower right, it will open and also lock into position, requiring you to release the mechanism for storage. As we move to the rear of the axle, you'll find mud flaps on the passenger and driver's side. Let's go ahead and take a look at the upper section of the body area, where you'll find the storage location for your hard suction, also emergency warning light, and a rear-facing floodlight. License plate holder, and just beneath the license plate holder is where you'll find some cupped switches. These happen to be for your deck lights, side scene lights, and then also your hose bed lights. Moving downward, you'll find a common bezel housing the emergency warning light, brake light, turn indicator, and reverse light. As we move to the rear, you'll find downward facing perimeter lighting, and in the very center you'll find a tow attachment point. As we move to the side of the vertical side sheets here, you're going to find additional fold down steps. This is at the rear of the truck for gaining access to go aloft to the hose bed. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the items in the hose bed area. First, I'd like to point out these warning labels: never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and also while climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle while climbing. Also, we have a warning regarding entanglement hazard. Because of those hoses coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. As we move to the center area, you'll find adjustable shelf, and at the lower portion you'll find a pull-out tray. Once again, that release mechanism for that tray is going to be on the lower right. It will lock into position when it is fully extended. And now we'll go ahead and move up to the ladder storage equipment rack. At the very top, once again, 10-foot folding, additional pike pole storage locations, 24-foot extension, and a 14-foot roof. We're now looking into the hose bed area. There's an additional light in the rear section. Also, as we move to the right, you'll find once again that combination: emergency, brake, turn, and reverse. And then moving back up to the very top, you'll find an emergency warning light at the very top portion. Let's move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle, just a general view of the entire body. Let's go ahead and look to the rear compartment with all compartments in the open position. As we move through these, we'll identify a few items within those compartments. Let's start at the very rear, where you'll find a pull-out tray in the lower section, release mechanism located on the lower right-hand side, adjustable shelving, same configuration as we have on the passenger and driver side. We have SCBA bottle storage in front of and also in rear of the rear axle. Emergency warning light directly over the rear axle, and also Alcoa and Michelin tires. As we move forward to the body section, before we get to the pump panel area, the exhaust is located on this side. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. We're now to the midsection area, or the cross-through area. Let's start by identifying a few items within the pump panel area. We'll start in the lower left-hand corner in the image with all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move just to the right, you'll find the passenger side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch inlet, female. Also, you'll find your large diameter discharge. Also, a warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Large diameter pump inlet is the Pierce logo American flag, and then also your powered equipment rack module. There are instructions here regarding danger placard, also instructions for raise and lower, a master switch, and also a lift up or down. Let's move back up to the pump panel, where you'll find a lift and turn latch will gain you access behind the pump panel on the passenger side. The significance here is your intake relief valve is located here, and then also the fill reservoir for your hydraulic ladder rack. We do have a light inside with a switch for inside the pump panel area for visibility. As we move to the crosslay area, once again, number 1 and number 2 crosslay, both of those again foam capable. As we move to the through area, once again, lift and turn latch on the outer side gains you access into that space just inside the stepwell area. General view of the cab area. Let's go ahead and take a look at those items. As we look to the stepwell, this is where your battery storage is located. 2 lift and turn latches will gain you access into the battery area. Let's go ahead and move to the cab area. As we move inside the cab door, you'll find once again affixed to the door panel all of our safety and warning placard information. As we move inside, you'll find forward-facing SCBA seats and then also light boxes located throughout the rear section of the cab area with charging mounts. As we move exterior, this is the officer area, step lights gaining access into the cab area, grab handle, locked door, and also latch. As we move to the upper portion, you will find a fold-down type mirror, which will gain access for the operator's ability to see the right-hand side of the vehicle. Also, mirrors, flat and convex. As we move to the front section, you'll find the release mechanism on the passenger side for the hood tilt area, also a turn indicator, air horn, and also your air inlet for the engine. As we move to the fender well, just below, you'll find the tire housing a Michelin tire and also Alcoa wheel. And we moved around to the very front section, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlight. Congratulations, Central Fire District, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35728. If you have any questions about your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.